And away we go. It is the Holy Grail BCJ podcast right here on BearcatJournal.com. As always, our good friends at the Holy Grail are hosting the road game, a watch party this weekend as the Bearcats travel to Dallas to take on SMU. Kickoff at noon. I believe doors open at 11, so get there, get your table, get comfy, and get ready to watch the Bearcats try to stay undefeated in American Athletic Conference play, move to 6-1 on the season. All right, let's get this show on the road. It's a little bit different format today as Dave is a little under the weather. He requested limited usage this evening. His availability is limited. So I think we're going to have him come in and do the SMU preview and then kind of figure it out from there later in the show. But first, as you can see, for those of you that are watching, friend of the show, friend of Bearcat Journal, friend of this particular program, my good friend, Zach Tobler, joining us tonight to talk some Bearcat basketball to get things started. Tobe, what's going on, brother?
Not too much. How's everybody doing?
We're good. Is it high school basketball season yet? How close are you and the Cubcats Colonels getting started?
Our official practices started this past Saturday, so no time wasted.
I hear a new look for the Colonels this year. Going to be a little smaller, not the size that Cubcats normally has. Be a little bit more of a guard-driven team.
Yeah, it'll be kind of back to when I was there. Besides me, is all guards and everything. So, try to get up and press people, pressure and all that. So
should be fun in the Cub as always.
No doubt.
The Cubcats Colonels. Let's get rolling. And you had the chance to get down and watch practice last week. We got lucky last Thursday. We didn't just get a practice. We got the first inter-squad scrimmage, so we had a chance to see quite a bit of live action, and that's always a good time to get a chance to form opinions. Overall, as a whole, before we start getting into the nitty-gritty, what did you think at your first viewing of the 22-23 Cincinnati Bearcats?
They're definitely a lot taller. I think we were,
longer for sure.
Exactly. I think they got some more talent. And that's not a knock on, the previous guys there, but they're just longer, more athletic. I know that's nothing entirely earth shattering and everything, but we're sitting there and I think I counted, 80% of the team is between 6'6" and 6'9", so it should be fun. They should be able to get up and down a little bit more and start playing a little more like West wants to play.
When you are you looking more of an offensive minded team, more of a defensive minded team? When you got a chance to check things out, what did you think?
Right now, beginning of the season, their team defense wasn't up to Wes's liking, that's for sure. So right now they're kind of more offensively learning how to play team defense, learning all that kind of stuff. It'll be interesting to see. I think they'll definitely have some more firepower on offense. I mean, Landers not only is a bucket getter, and he can do some stuff defensively too. So. But right now, the offense is a little further ahead of the defense.
Yeah, I think
that's. But that's mostly that's probably most teams in the country right now. So,
especially when you're trying to incorporate as many new guys, as Cincinnati is. Wes has joked a couple times with me at practice. Make sure you tell everybody we're teaching defense. It might not look like it yet, but we are teaching them how to play defense.
Yeah, and that's always, that's one of the hardest things is to get the whole team to buy in defensively, especially team defensively and all your rotations and everything, how you're defending pick and rolls and all that kind of stuff. So,
what did you think of the rotations? I think that's going to be maybe the most interesting thing as we get in to the start of this season is he's got a lot of options and not a lot of separation between those options.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that do a lot of similar things. Just long, athletic, can kind of get out in space and everything. It'll be interesting to see how he, uses those lineups and mixes and matches guys. I know he's trying to do that in the scrimmage that they had this past weekend. I think somebody, from that clip that got supposedly leaked a little bit, and I think somebody on, Bearcat Journal was tracking it, and I guess there was 12 possessions and there was 11 different lineups. So Wes is using it as a as a tool to figure out what's working, what's not working, who plays well together, all that. So
what's going on your Sunday that you're like, okay, here's this video, and not only am I going to watch it, but I'm going to chart every combination. Yeah, I'm going to pause it and chart every combination. Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not doing that, but right. Yeah, I'm not going to sit there and do that, but I'll gladly take the information if somebody else does it, and use that and learn from it and everything. So
it's very similar to the people in the off season during football that consistently monitor the roster on GoBearcats.com, and occasionally they'll update things, and somebody will be like, "Hey, why is this person not on the roster anymore?" I don't know. It's a walk-on from Akron. I didn't even know they were on the team.
Right. They've only been here for a year, maybe,
do they have a screenshot that they're check? Uh-oh. Where's Timmy Sullivan? Walk-on long snapper from Akron. I don't see him on the sheet anymore.
What happened? Well, he decided he didn't want to play anymore. Just wanted to be a student.
Decided walk-on long snapper wasn't as glorious as
it turned out to be. Right.
Aaron, you got anything for Tobes?
Yeah, Coach talked a lot about positionless basketball. What's your thoughts on this roster in particular, kind of transitioning into this positionless basketball era?
I think he's trying to get there. I mean, the Golden State Warriors, I was actually just watching them last night, NBA opening weekend. Everybody's trying to emulate that now, where it's just you're rolling, moving. Everybody is just, passing to each other. It's not all that, the game right before the Sixers and the Celtics, James Harden had 600 dribbles in that game. And you'll see players on the Warriors and they don't have 30, but they're still scoring, 20 points and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of what a lot of people are trying to emulate these days, or in their own way. And I think that's what Wes is trying to do. He's trying to get all those versatile 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", athletic wing type players that can guard the 2 through the 4, maybe even the 2 through the 5, depending on the player and everything. So just being able to do all that, defensively, and then offensively being able to shoot, handle the ball, score at the rim, all of that. So I think he's getting there with some of the players that he has. But
and who do you think stands to benefit the most from kind of transitioning to this style of basketball?
As far as players,
yes.
Specific players, Landers is one that sticks out as far as the newcomers.
Sure.
I think from the players that are returning, I think DDJ, it actually really helps him. I know he's on the smaller side and he doesn't really fit that long wing mold, but I think it'll help open things up for him, where last year he was trying to do a lot of one-on-one, trying to score over people and all that stuff, where now the defense won't be able to, they're not going to be able to double, or they're not going to be able to stack the box as much on him. So I think he'll really benefit from this.
You bring up DDJ, and he talked about how this is the first real offseason that he's gone through with the same coach. He's never had an offseason in his life, ever, where he's had a coach. So what kind of difference does that make for a guy going through the motions of an offseason?
It's tough. He's what, I think he's a fifth year senior now.
Right.
And so he's had, basically 4 or 5 different coaches. Just the continuity, like he's not trying to learn something new. Like he's just getting to refine what he already knows and then add on to it rather than learning a whole new system, learning a defensive scheme, learning, terminology and all that stuff because every coach uses different stuff. So I think just being able to go out there and just play more freely because he's more ingrained into the system and everything is a huge plus.
There was something we talked about a little bit. Ed wants to know if we'll ever see Tobler time at the broadcast table.
At the broadcast table?
Yeah, like Dan and Tobes. Terry's got a little throat issue one day. They need to fill in.
Hey, maybe
Dan and Tobes calling games.
It's possible. I wouldn't say no. It would just be hard, just with our season because a lot of our games overlap at the high school level. I have season tickets this year and everything, but I don't even know how many games I'm going to be able to get to. But,
look, Tobes, Dan does the Bearcats football and basketball and the Bengals, and somehow he almost always finds time. Although I feel sorry for him. He doesn't get to do Maui.
Oh, really? He's going to be with the Bengals or whatever?
He's got Bengals stuff. I think they've got that's their Monday night game. So Mo, poor Mo.
Trats.
Right.
Yeah, poor Mo has to do Maui.
Oh, that sounds terrible. That's so awful.
How mad would you be at the Bengals?
I'll go down with Mo. I'll go join the broadcast booth with Mo down in
You think Terry
Hawaii.
is missing Maui? You've met Terry Nelson before, right?
Yeah.
There is zero chance Terry isn't going on that Maui trip. Zero chance. Like Terry, we're gonna have to cut off your leg. Just get it done.
That's fine. Yeah.
Before I got to go to Maui. We're
just have it wrapped up good enough. I can get on the flight.
Tobler Time podcast. We've kind of talked about that a little bit at times. What a Tobler podcast.
Wouldn't be entirely opposed.
Do you guys play on Thursday nights a lot?
No, most of them are like Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. I mean, our schedule this year is actually kind of all over the place, but most of it is typically like your Tuesday, Friday-ish.
We've got a Thursday night podcast that's kind of football heavy and maybe could use a little bit of a basketball presence as we get into basketball season. I don't know.
Might not be a terrible idea.
Rock of Truth with reoccurring star guest Zach Tobler.
I mean, you talk about a walk-on podcast.
I don't know if I'd say star, but
they've actually one of their guys is a girls varsity coach, basketball.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who's that?
He's Joe Metzger.
Oh, okay, nice.
So he's a diehard basketball guy. And Joe and I have chatted a little bit about what basketball season looks like on the show. So maybe on some Thursday nights, we'll need to slide you into Rock of Truth.
Appreciate you, Big Stevie.
Did you know Sopko?
I don't think I ever met him. I don't think.
It's Metzger, Sopko, and then Nick Statterman, who was a walk-on defensive lineman. So,
oh hell yeah,
two former. This is the walk-on network, bro.
That's amazing.
We have Ryan Royer on Monday night.
Yeah.
When Royer can't fill in, Garrett Campbell, who I think you went to school with for multiple years.
Yeah.
Garrett Campbell does fills in for when Royer's not there. We have Statterman. We have you. If you're a walk-on, you got a chance.
This is the spot.
But one of the things we talked about Thursday as we were watching practice, this is not a team that's going to have a ton of rim protection, at least traditional rim protection.
You don't have the Odies or the Kovals, of the world down there.
I do.
We still got Odie.
I do, yeah. Odie, sorry, my apologies.
Yeah. As a coach looking at it, like, what are some of the options to solve those problems when you're not a team that has just a traditional kind of shot blocking presence?
The guards are going to have to stay in front a little more. You can't go too crazy reckless out there. You just have to know that. But I think they did a pretty good job actually during the scrimmage that we saw. I mean, there was multiple charges taken. So that's another route, especially, that's kind of what we preach a lot, to our kids because we don't have any shot blockers. So you're taking charges. So that comes from, weak side help and they can, weak side help and everybody's rotating and moving. I mean, they're going to have to be more alert defensively. You're not going to have those guys bailing you out at the rim and everything. So it'll be a challenge, definitely. But I think they'll be able to get some more stuff out of their wings now. I think there'll be, a little more help that way too. So,
how much of a premium does that place on communication?
Oh, it amplifies it. It just makes everything more critical. Your ball screen defense, your weak side defense, your rotations, everything. You definitely need to be more on point because, like I said, they don't have that guy. If somebody gets beat, I got a do back there that's gonna alter the shot or block the shot, and then we can go the other way. Like, if you're not, you get blown by. It makes it more difficult without it, and not impossible. It's not like it's the end of the world, but it's just one more added thing defensively that you don't have.
Here's the other question I have for you about that. Does it help rebounding? Because you might not have as many guys going for block shots.
Yeah, I think it does help because there was multiple times last year that you'd have Adu and Koval there might have been a couple times where they were in at the same time and they both go for the shot block.
Right.
So now both of them are out of position to get the weak side rebound. So, now that, you don't have as many guys who are just walling up down low and making them score over top, you got more bodies being able to rebound versus everyone, flying and selling out for a block shot. So I think it might help in that department too, where, and maybe they're not getting as many block shots or altered shots, but, they might be getting some more weak side rebounds and less putbacks for the other team. Because I think that's one thing that really killed them last year was, their field goal defense was pretty good. They just couldn't finish it off with a rebound.
Well, what are some other areas that you're looking for this team to improve upon as they go into the season? Like just some broad topics that like just things that you want this team to really do well this year.
Just overall consistency. There were times last year where they were either great or they were terrible. It's finding that middle ground. Like obviously you want your highs to be really high, but not having those lows that are so low. I think that's the biggest thing is just finding that consistency. And I think, being in Wes's system for a second year, I think that'll help.
Is there anything in particular that you think that his system is going to allow them to do in order to get to that goal?
I think it'll let him play more freely on offense a little bit. I know he demands a lot on defense, but he's the type of coach that, hey, you play really hard on defense for me and you play your ass off on defense, I'll give you a little more freedom on offense, to take some shots and stuff like that.
His defensive practices, anything like mix?
I don't know. I haven't really got a chance to see a lot of it. I know they did a little bit of rotation stuff, your shell drills and all that when we were there, but not a ton of it. So I haven't got a chance to see it a lot, but I think there is a lot of similarities in how they go about defense and the importance that they put on defense.
They keeping track of tip balls?
I didn't see
Everybody tracks deflection.
It wasn't as much of an emphasis, I guess, on it. But
Chad gets so defensive anytime we talk about Mick. It's fine.
Hey, I track it in our kids at in the high school level. So I mean it's it's a thing. I mean, it's, I know everybody wants to rag on it and all that, a lot. And obviously it's not the end all be all. Like you still gotta, make shots and you still gotta be a good team and whatnot. But it really, there is truth that, I think our number was 40
Yep.
deflections in the game. So basically 1 a minute. If we hit 35 deflections, we never lost. In the 4 years I was at UC, if we hit 35 deflections, we didn't lose a single time.
Wow.
So I think there is some truth to be said in that, but obviously I don't think it's the end all be all at the same time. So
more than anything, Tobes, it's just something that keeps you out of your offense. When the ball gets deflected, you have to start over. You got to reset. Even if it's not a turnover and you get it back, you got to stop, reset what you're doing. The defense gets to establish itself again.
And then you're maybe not letting the other team run their offense as much. Right. So you're putting kids into a situation where they have to read and react. And there's a lot of kids out there that cannot do that. They can't, see somebody, denying them and then go back door off of it. And then the guy making the pass to read it at the same time. So it just makes everything more difficult on the offense.
What was your take on point guard? Mike Adams-Woods, Rob Fennessy shared most of the duties, but David DeJulius did get some time, especially in that final segment of the scrimmage that they did.
It'll be interesting. I know Fennessy, he's more the defensive guy. I mean, he's all over the place defensively. I mean,
he's really good.
He never gets beat. It didn't seem like he got beat off the dribble a single time. There wasn't just straight blow-bys. Like, he was always in front of his guy. Hopefully they can get some stuff offensively from him. I mean, I know he made a couple really nice moves around the rim in that open gym where he had that one reverse on our baseline side. There was a couple times where he had like almost a wide open layup. He could have just laid it in with his left hand. He tried to like pass it out instead. But I think he gives you a lot defensively. So does Mike Adams-Woods. He's a little bit longer than him. I think you can play those two at the same time. It'd be interesting. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, playing 2 point guards at the same time.
I think it would be more of a defense, like if you need to stop or, something along those lines.
Exactly.
Or if you've got a guard, a Kendrick Davis or something, point guard that's torching you, maybe you put both of them in there, and that way you can try to wear the guy down.
You can run and jump him a little bit, and that way you're not really losing anything defensively if you get switched out, if either one gets switched out onto him. But
yeah,
food for thought.
What'd you think of when Dave ran point with what was it? It was Nolly, Newman.
It was Newman, JD, and Vic,
Locken.
I think.
Yeah, that was 5.
Yeah. I like it. I think that's a rotation that has a lot of offensive potential. I know they needed to work on a little bit defensively,
right?
But I think that's a lineup that I think they should be able to score a little bit with that. I really liked was,
you would hope.
You would hope. Yeah, exactly. I think they are definitely more offensively capable when you got DDJ playing the point.
Right.
But what do you lose on the defensive end? I guess that kind of remains to be seen. But
you can't ask Newman to guard everybody, unfortunately.
Exactly.
You'd like to.
As much as you want to, if you could just clone him defensively. He'd be all over the place.
Aaron?
Was there anything that anybody did during practice while you were taking it in that just really stood out to you?
Yes, there was one play. I think you actually said it already at one point on one of the podcasts or something. Was when Kalu
you listen to all. Yeah,
I try to get to as much of it as I can. I miss some stuff, but Kalu is at the end of one of their periods they did, and I forget who took a shot, but his head like his eyes were like at the rim, and it kind of took a weird bounce, and he just like hung up there, and like he was like kind of awkwardly coming back down. But I mean, if it would have come off right, I mean, he could have really mashed it. But
he kept it on the glass.
He kept it on the glass.
Second got jump, himself got it back, again.
Laid it in. Yep. He's one. I'm really excited for him. He reminds me of that old school Eric Hicks type player. You know, just big bodied, strong down low. He had one move where he took Vic. He had like one dribble middle, just spun back, put his shoulder right into him, and just laid it in over. And he's given up 4 or 5 inches on him. And he moved him out of the way like it was nothing.
Nice.
But he's one that I'm excited for.
You had the same impression of Kalu that I did, and that he doesn't. It's a weird. He doesn't look as tall as he is.
No, that's what I said. I said 2 things. I said Landers looks taller than I thought he was, and Ezekpa was like, he's not. He doesn't seem that tall. But then he stands next to a couple other people, and you're like, well, shit, I guess he is that tall.
Yeah, he's taller than that guy. He's taller than that guy. Like, it's weird.
Doesn't Landers also have like a 7'2" wingspan?
Yeah.
That kid, he's going to be good.
I agree.
Bucket getter, definition.
Not if you read, what was it, the CBS Sports Preview. He's just a new edition.
Whatever. Half the guys don't even know. They're just saying shit just to say shit.
Isn't that what it all? That's all
most of it. And, exactly. Well, yeah, I guess that's true too. But
what's your take on scrimmage gate?
Oh, dude, that shit is just like, I get it if you're Ohio to an extent. Like you wanna win the game. You want to feel good about yourself. But at the end of the day, scrimmages are like preseason games in the NFL. What good is it to do if you just had Joe Burrow play the entire freaking preseason game? It's like, you know what you're getting out of him. Maybe you're just knocking the rust off a little bit, get him a quarter, or, a few series here or there. But it's like, I think Wes is using it more to find his lineups, figure out stuff, run different actions with different players, see how they react to that kind of stuff. And he's just trying to play everybody. Now, I know they said they were going to play like 3 periods, and they only ended up playing 2 because the other team is tired. It's like, dude, you got like a half another team that hasn't even played yet. Let those dudes get a little burn for a quarter. Like, I don't know. That whole thing is just weird to me, like how that was handled.
When you agree to play 3, like the other Wes is planning on having three 20-minute periods of evaluation.
Right.
So you're not. I don't know. I just think it's kind of a bitch way to do things.
If you wanted it to be the NBA Finals, just say that, and he would have played it that way.
But I don't think Cincinnati would have, because I think
right, because he wants to get more out of it than that.
Well, I think they were looking at the Purdue scrimmage as like the dress rehearsal.
Right.
The Ohio scrimmage was, let's get as much as we can on tape. Like, you've seen this.
Yeah.
In settings like that, you can get a bunch on every guy on the roster. And guess what? The guys at the bottom of the roster need stuff.
They need playing time
as well.
Yeah. They need to see the stuff on film. Like, that's the whole point of it, is they need to see what they're doing good, what they're doing bad, and what they're doing good on film and everything. That's the biggest thing. You can say a lot to a kid, hey, you're doing this, hey, you're doing that. But to be able to show them on the film, hey, this is what you're doing right, this is what you're doing wrong, and correcting some of that stuff. That's where the easiest way to do it. But if you don't play the people, you can't you can't do that.
And I've talked about this. Here's my only problem with it. You want to, like, if you schedule a scrimmage, it's your prerogative
to
handle the scrimmage, your plan for that scrimmage, any way that you want it.
Right.
I don't think anybody has an issue that, like, who cares if Ohio was planning on getting something different out of the scrimmage than Cincinnati?
Right.
That's neither here nor there.
Right. Yeah, every coach wants something different out of it, but to like cancel periods just because your guys are tired.
There were people in and around that program that were calling anybody they could get a hold of
to
get it out there that Ohio beat UC.
Okay, yeah, that's
like, come on, man, like really, like without any context, without putting out
scrimmage game, like whatever.
Without putting out that they played their top 7 guys almost the entire game while UC played everybody. Without putting out that.
But they did make sure to say that they lost their top 3 scorers from last year. So they're apparently decimated from last season.
Yeah.
Darn.
Like, that's the part that got under my skin.
Whatever.
Like.
Yeah. Some of that stuff, you're just like, whatever,
Get out of it.
If that makes them happy.
Right.
Right. If that makes their season, that made their season, I guess.
I just think that part of it is stupid and deserves to be called out because you're releasing everything without a whole lot of context. And obviously, it's a super
showing some
scrimmage.
random ass highlights and stuff.
Right. Like they showed 12 highlights that are all Ohio scoring.
Right.
Like, of course, you played 40 minutes. I hope you had 12 buckets.
Right. If you had less than that, that would be bad. That would be very bad.
You've played in games like that. It's not a lot of buckets.
Yeah.
Good old rock fights.
Exactly. Remember beating Pitt in the Madison Square Garden. Yep.
Or what was that?
It was like 44 to 43, something like that. Whatever. It was in the low 40s. Low to
Did you play in any of those games when they were redoing the USF arena? Like noon tip off in an ice hockey arena? That was before you got there.
I think that was right before. Yeah, because the Sundome or whatever they call it now was like brand new when we first got in there.
So it was the year before. They played at noon. Might even have been 11 in the morning on a court on top of an ice hockey arena in front of like 8 people.
That would be no court issues. That would absolutely be so miserable.
And I think it was like a 41-40.
Oh, I believe it. Every bit of it.
So I think this question's
brutal.
I think this question's worth asking from the chat here. Tibler, what's your starting lineup?
What's my starting lineup? That's tough.
I guess it would depend on your opponent, especially at point guard, right?
Yeah, a little bit, but I don't know. I like to keep the same lineup if I can. Obviously, stuff happens and you want to change it up some, but I'd have DGJ in there for sure. Nolly and Davenport. I think those 3 are like my quote unquote locks.
Okay.
I would say. I kind of think Kalu might start. I don't know. It'll be interesting how they, between him, Victor Locken, and Odie. I still think Odie probably comes off the bench as your 4 or 5. He can kind of interchange either one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I can't decide between Kalu and Victor.
While I agree, that also could put potentially your most important player coming off the bench.
John Newman.
John Newman. Right.
That's
Unless
your heartbeat.
He can play the
that's
2.
Your defense. Or Nolly can play like that. That's
him and Nolly can, interchange the 2 and the 3.
You want to talk positionless basketball. That means your guys have to be able to play all the positions.
Mm-hmm.
And be able to guard all the positions.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
More
I mean.
Importantly, right.
Right.
You can have anybody out there doing whatever you want, right? But if you can't guard anybody up like that, can't guard on the perimeter, getting blown by every time, well, you're not really any help.
Exactly. I don't know. I agree that I think you will probably see JD and Nolly in the starting rotation. I just think Newman is going to be a guy because he is your best defender.
Exactly.
Because
he's the glue guy. He does a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So who's your point guard?
I want to say it just starts out as kind of DDJ, like, in the beginning, but then, not that it'll quickly rotate it out him necessarily, but, say, he subs out Davenport or Newman or somebody, and then brings in, that second, pure ball handler.
I think that's more likely as the season goes on. I think if you're asking me who's the starter at point guard to start the season, and probably even all the way through Maui, I would guess it's Finney.
Yeah. I could see that too. I can't, just because
defense, well, especially this is a team not ready to defend at a high level yet.
Right.
And as Tobe said, it's not uncommon at this point in the season, for your team not to be clicking on all cylinders, defensively.
Yeah, right.
But head of the snake, as much as Wes likes defense, I think you would probably, and especially if you're not starting Newman.
Right. Yes.
If you don't have one of Finney,
I think it's
Newman
one of those two, depending.
With Arizona and Ohio State and Ohio State or Arizona, is it San Diego State?
San Diego State, yeah.
One or the other, right on the slate, right off the bat. You're certainly going to want probably your best defenders out there if you're not at the defensive level that you want to be collectively.
Right. And then you're just
you don't have any rim protection.
Sacrificing some offense, depending. Not saying, they're complete liabilities, either one of them, but they're not going to get you 15 a game out there.
Right.
It's the way this all shapes up is going to be fascinating, especially early.
Yeah, I think the coaching staff has their work cut out for them a little bit, trying to figure out all these lineups and who's going to work best where, and putting all these players into positions for them to succeed at a high level.
John White 17. Who's Williams? Okay, who? It was like, is Keith back? Corrected. Newman, not Williams. The Newman thing is fascinating. Like, Davenport has been a long-time starter here now.
Right. Yeah, he started for 3 years now?
I don't think he started a ton his freshman year, but the last 2 years he started for
at least the last two. Yeah,
for Brandon's
I forgot
final year, and then Wes's first year.
That's right.
You can that's an option with Nolly playing the 4 and Newman playing the 3. If you start DDJ at the 2 with Finney. But if Davenport and Nolly are on the floor, I just don't know, unless you do go with that DeJulius starting point guard spot, then you can get Newman, Nolly, and Landers all 4 or all 3.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. They got a lot of different options, whether they want to go defensively to start or offensively to start, or that's why they get paid the big bucks to make those decisions.
Trivia question: when's the last non-senior day COVID day Mike Adams Shuey didn't start? I have no idea.
Did he start every game last year? I think he did. I know he started every game. It feels like he did. Yeah, that's another one. It's like, is he comfortable coming off the bench? Because there's some people that aren't. I know, Russell Westbrook said, not that he's been great lately, but he said something the other day. I think he didn't start a game, last year for the first time in like 14 years or something crazy. And he's
mid-December 2019.
He's like, I didn't know how to prepare to not start.
Prior to COVID hadn't happened the last time Mike Adams Woods didn't start.
That's wild.
It's a lot of starts.
That's a lot of starts. That's a lot of minutes. It's a lot of it's a lot of games played. It's like he's not just a guy out there. He has a lot of experience. And I think I did notice something, but when he was driving to the rim the last 2 or 3 years and everything, he was always trying to avoid people and everything. He's trying to do that kind of wind up with his left hand, make it like a half hook shot type deal. And he drove to the rim a couple times in that scrimmage, and he didn't do that. And he scored. He was
been that way most of the offseason.
Yeah, which is huge for him, because if he can add a couple of those buckets a game, I mean, it's just going to open up his 3-point shooting. It's going to open up a lot of stuff for other people because he did a good job of getting to the rim. He's always done a pretty good job of it when he's been aggressive. It's just, he'll be aggressive and he'll do it, and then he'll try to avoid all the contact rather than trying to get an and one or going through people.
Watching him felt like what we used to do as kids, like, and Jordan goes up, like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like it was trying to
I'm
make
like,
the shot.
I'm like, it is trying to make it way more difficult than it had to be.
Didn't need to be that acrobatic, like just a simple layup.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm with
Hi,
you,
Dave.
Hi.
How you doing, buddy?
Well, my boys gave their all for Tennessee on Saturday.
So did Dave.
For General Nealand, and now I'm giving my all for Bearcat Journal.
It's like the same thing.
If I just face plant asleep, just somebody scream and wake me up. I have to sport my Tonk birthday present.
We'll just yell "Rocket
Very
Top."
nice.
Real loud.
Big time.
Tonk sent me a birthday present. We have fans. I need to make like an Amazon wish list.
Start buying me anything anytime off there.
You have any questions for Tobes before we let him go?
No, nothing.
We didn't talk anything about the locker room. If you had any locker room questions,
no. I'm trying to make this as quick as possible.
I'll ask him one real quick. How fun was it to do that? How fun was it to be a major part of that?
It was awesome, man. I mean, that's what I've told, my company I'm with now, Skanska. They kind of ask you sometimes, hey, what would make you happy? What do you like? What do you want? I'm like, if I can go back and I can, do projects, not only for the university, but for athletics and everything. I mean, I'm pretty happy doing all that stuff. So it's exciting to give back a little bit in a sense to where I spent 4 years of my life there and everything. So it's really cool to see future and current athletes and getting them to have a new space and everything. So it was a cool project. A lot went into it, but can't wait to do some more, hopefully.
If you can't tell me, I understand. Are you guys involved with either the basketball locker room or the new practice facility?
Not the football practice facility. I don't know how much I can say on the basketball, but they're still going through the process of selecting a contractor for that.
Do you get to make that presentation? Look, I played like this is my blood, sweat, and tears.
I will. Yes, I will be a part of that project pursuit team.
Are you
good to hear?
Are you allowed to tell the story about the piece of glass that you had to replace several times over?
Oh yeah, I mean it's one, especially nowadays a lot of companies are backed up with different stuff and they can't get stuff to people as much. So we have all those trapezoid pieces of glass and everything, and so they sent it out the first time and it was cut at the wrong angle. And then they sent it out the next time and it was painted on the wrong side. And then they sent it out like a third time. And then the guy, and it's fragile glass, like it's not very thick or anything. So you hit it wrong or pick it up weird, like it'll crack. And so, we're going to install it and the guy like barely, knocks it on, the counter right there and it just breaks in half. So we had to get like the same piece of glass like 4 times. We ended up putting like a shiny piece of plastic laminate in to fill until the right piece actually came in. But it's just stuff like that.
And all that special order glass, when it comes in and you can't use it, you just
throw it out. Basically, pretty much
crazy.
Useless.
Could put it on the wall back here.
You want a couple shards of glass?
Sure.
Shattered pieces of glass.
Better than nothing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right. Well, we're going to let you go, Tobes. We got to get this SMU preview. It feels like we're on a ticking time bomb here with Dave. So Dave agrees. We gotta get this.
Sweating bullets right now.
You got a hoodie on. Try to
take your hoodie off.
No, I gotta sweat it out. This is how you do it.
I feel that. I feel that. Go do some hot yoga. That'll get it out. I used to always do that when I was feeling bad like that.
Hoodie,
go do some hot yoga.
Just sweat it all out.
Hot yoga when you're sick is truly the best. You actually feel like you can breathe when you're done. Oh my god!
Right? Oh, it's so amazing. I love it. I need to get back into it.
I can't do any of the moves, but even just being in the room.
Oh, I know.
It's so
Sometimes I'll get like 15 minutes in. I'll just like lay on the mat because I'm like dead. Whatever. It's like
all right. Appreciate you, brother. And we'll keep in touch about that Thursday night deal. Maybe have you on there to talk some basketball as a regular as we get into December and January.
Sounds good. Let me know.
All right. Appreciate you, Tobes. Thanks, brother.
See y'all. Thank you.
There you go. Zach Tobler. Tobler time. Right here on the BCJ podcast.
I will leave you two to your preview. I'll hop in if need be.
If Dave collapses,
Godspeed, Dave.
If Dave falls over, you might want to spend some time researching SMU here for a little bit, Aaron, just in case.
Yeah. This is actually an easy one, thankfully.
All right. Well, we've got the introduction out of the way. We know Dave is a little under the weather, so we're going to try to Tonk has a birthday present on the way for me as well. He told me it's something vintage Bearcats that he really wishes he could keep for himself. And I'm like, you can keep it for yourself, bro. I don't like it. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be mad at you if you don't send me my birthday present.
Right.
Geoff, I hope you feel better, brother. You're getting married in 2 days.
Oh, that sucks.
Stomach bug. Ugh. Good luck.
Yeah.
You'll be skinny for the wedding. Yeah. Or skinnier.
Don't lock your knees. You'll pass out.
All right.
Don't get too skinny or the suit might not fit. Be careful with that.
That's true.
No man has ever said don't get too skinny.
Yeah. SMU.
I mean, this
initial. Okay.
Like, how do you want to defend them? Do you want to double Rashee Rice, who has more than 3 times as many receptions as the next highest receiver?
Aaron calls him Rashi.
Right, yeah, well, that's not his name.
It's so much more fun, though. And that's how much I care about the AAC.
That is true. So do you
he doesn't lotion properly? Rashi Rice.
Ashy Rice.
Ashy Rice.
So do you double him and just say, like, we're going to try to take him out and roll the dice with their other receivers, or do you play more straight up, bring more pressure? Now, they've only given up 6 sacks. Tanner Mordecai gets rid of the ball pretty quickly. So, it really just comes down to how you think they want to play them. Because they don't really run it. They've got some injuries at running back. Rice has been dealing with like a toe injury, but he's played the last 2 weeks. So I think he's just managing it and playing through it. They've got 4 receivers that are pretty good. And it's just, how do you want to defend them? Do you just bring the house and hope that your DBs can hold up? Do you play more zone where they can possibly get stuff underneath and break tackles? They have a lot of yards after catch. But it's all about winning the one-on-ones defensively. If they can do that, you can kind of shut them down offensively like UCF did. They scored 40 points in 48 plays against Navy last week. So they had 2 or 3 touchdown drives that were 3 plays or less. But their defense is not great. It's not great against the run. It's not great against the pass. They're giving up almost 6 yards a play, which is 82nd in the country. Passer rating D is 73rd. They're pretty good completion percentage allowed, but yards per attempt allowed, they're 92nd, and yards per carry allowed, they're 98th. So UC's gonna, if they can stay out of the whole third and issues that they've had, if they can correct that, I don't see this defense really giving them a ton of resistance. They've only got 13 sacks. Elijah Chapman has 3. They only have 4 interceptions. So it's kind of like a UC defense versus their offense. We know what they're going to do. It's just a matter of how you want to go against it. So I think you have options, but there's positives and negatives to both ways that you would want to defend them.
I think the answer with them has and always will be, can you throw a knockout punch? And it doesn't even can you just throw a punch that knocks them down? Because they don't like getting up.
No.
If they can hang around, they can take this thing all the way to the wire, as they've done, with multiple teams. But if you hit that, score, stop, score, and a 10-17 or 10-7 game becomes 24-7, they don't respond. They never responded well to something like that.
No, that's been the case this year too. I mean, they made their TCU game a little bit closer at the end. They lost at Maryland. They got worked in Orlando. So, and UCF's pass defense is really good. Their run defense is okay. But I mean, they're not going to run the ball a ton. Their top two running backs are game time decision or not sure if they'll play.
Right.
So you're looking at backups, and it's just not the fullback looking dude that has the neck roll or whatever. Levine, I think, is his name.
Adam.
Yes.
Okay, we'll call him Adam.
So
Ashy Rice, Adam Levine.
Yeah, you have Ashy Rice. You have Moochie Dixon is another receiver. I mean, Rice has 49 catches for 761 and 4 touchdowns. And the next closest guy has 15 catches for 199.
You know where the ball is going.
Yeah. So it's like, how do you want to defend him?
Right.
Do you want to just double him and say, throw it to all these? We're going to try to take him completely out of the game.
I'm going to be honest here. And obviously this is skewed information because of Sauce. I don't remember the last time they doubled anybody.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they also had Sauce and Kobe.
Right.
They don't have those guys now.
I'm just saying I don't know what that looks like in their system.
No,
because we haven't seen it for ages.
If you do double him, it leaves everybody else in one-on-ones, and then if you do blitz ever, then you're even more susceptible if a guy loses his one-on-one. That's my point. It's like
history would tell you they'll play it straight up.
They'll just play like they normally do, and he's going to get his because he's really good. But you hopefully don't let him go, 14 for 200 and something. And
right. If he gets 9 for 105, that offense doesn't have a lot else.
No, I mean, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of pressure they can get against a team that doesn't give up sacks, has a quarterback that's mobile. He's not like a runner per se in the same vein as Gary Bohannon or KJ Jefferson, but if they run 4 verts and you turn your back, he's going to take off. And he's got wheels. Like, he's not slow. He had a 60-yard run against Navy.
We're supposed to talk about the shorter runs, the 15s, the 18s.
Well, I'm going to talk about the 60-yarder that you never really see from
Luke Fickell thinks you're a layman.
Then, show me all the other 60-yard quarterback touchdown runs.
He just wanted to say that he thought I was a layman.
Well, that's up for debate.
I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong.
No.
It is. Why do you think I let you do all the football talk?
So we'll see what the health status is of some guys. They've been pretty banged up too. Have some guys that have been in. A lot of their receivers have kind of been in a game, out of game, in a game. So I think that skews a little bit of their numbers. They've lost 2 guys for the year, 2 receivers for the year. Jake Bentley, when he went down, he was their second leading receiver, but that was a little while ago, so they've probably made their adjustments since then. It's not like it just happened against Navy. But Jordan Curley, Dylan Goffney, 2 other receivers, good players. So
what do you think about the Navy factor?
I mean, they put it to them pretty good. It got close at the end. Navy did run a lot of plays, though. So defensively,
Do you buy that? Do you buy that the teams are a little beat up physically coming out of Navy every year?
You have to be a little bit. I mean, just they're pounding on you from a defense, especially from a front seven standpoint. Like,
right,
you don't really get any plays off. Like, even on third and whatever, they're still probably going to run the ball. So it's not like you get to get wide and pin your ears back and go try to sack the quarterback, because you still have to guard against the run.
Right.
So, let me look at something real quick. Let's see how many snaps they ran.
It felt like a lot. It felt like Navy had the ball a long time.
They had it a lot at the end. Well, they had it a lot because SMU scored a lot of quick touchdowns. What was that, week 6?
Yeah.
No, week 7. Sorry.
Week 7. Sorry. Yeah. The bye week has me screwed up.
Mm-hmm. Stats. Let's see.
This is riveting podcasting.
Yeah, I mean, they ran 99 scrimmage plays.
Navy did.
Yeah, to 48 from SMU.
Yeah.
But it was never, I mean, they were successful. There's, on their game on paper page, there's a lot of green. They just didn't convert drives. I mean, they gained 75% of their available yards, which is pretty good. They had 15 explosive plays. But SMU had 10 out of 48.
Yeah.
So 21% of their plays were explosives. So, I just think this one's not hard. This isn't like it's a hard game, but it's not a hard scout to me. Tonk. I don't know, Tonk. Some guy sent it to me.
Just it was on his. He got it from his OnlyFans.
That's right. Yeah, but let's see. Yeah, they had SMU had 9.5 yards per play last week.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't think it's 12.44 yards per dropback. That's quite strong.
That's ridiculous.
So, it's if they don't clean up third down, and they don't get pressure, they're absolutely going to be in a dogfight. Absolutely. So, we've had this notion, thanks to Sonny Dykes. I don't know if it's carried over to Rhett Lashley, especially last year at home. 2 years ago, the game was close, and then all of a sudden, Des took 190 yards, and it looked like they just quit. But they also had
that was the knockout punch that they
also
just
had a lot of drops that game. Where
that was the most alligator arm game I've ever seen. They wanted nothing to do with the Cincinnati DBs.
Yeah,
and that was that Wiggins. Yeah, Wiggins and Defoe's final year, where there was a good chance, no matter what, once you caught the ball, you were going to get smacked.
Right.
So,
I think UC has played well coming out of byes. We'll see about the injury status of Tyler Scott. I think he would be the biggest one. I would imagine that everybody else.
As of Tuesday, Ben Bryant was full go.
Right.
Will Pauling was back. Shaman Mateer not.
Pauling could still be out like another week. Like he's just ramping back.
I don't think so.
No, you don't. I just ramping back up.
Look, dude. He looked like he was never even.
Well, a couple weeks ago, I don't know if it was the Indiana game or what. He was dancing all over the sideline with his crutches on, so he couldn't have been bothered that much.
We were joking around with some people at practice on Tuesday that that's one of those kids. We talked about it with like Chuck when he was hurt and Wig when he was hurt. Like some kids' genetics, there's nothing medicine can do.
Sure. Compared
to just great genetics. And he looked like I will be surprised if we don't see him on Saturday. Very surprised if we don't see him on Saturday.
Good. I mean, I imagine that Ivan Pace will be back to his himself.
I believe that was what it looked like. I believe that was a stinger.
Yeah. He's just dragging that shoulder a little bit.
Yeah.
But
he wasn't in red. Like normally, if it's a major problem, the guy's in red. He was in his normal jersey for practice on Saturday. Really, like Tyler Scott was the only one of the guys that, we know are either available or questionable or whatever. Ben Bryant took all the reps with the ones. I know Luke probably is trying to use a little gamesmanship. I was shocked he mentioned that he was in the transfer. They're in the concussion protocol. Yeah. Because he usually doesn't give any information like that. So that had to be maybe a little gamesmanship to make SMU think it might be possible that he doesn't play.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he had actually, from the stuff we saw on Tuesday, he had a really good practice. Like, we were a little late because we had the basketball media availability that overlapped with the first quarter, 30% of practice. But the stuff that we did see, he was dealing. He was throwing it really well.
Well, good deal. I mean, I think.
What are we ready for Dave's prediction?
Yeah, I think. I mean, they have some things to clean up. You hope that they did a good job self-scouting. You hope that they got healthy, and I just think the defense for SMU is not good enough to consistently keep them from moving the ball. So I'm going to say 35-24 Bearcats.
I think that sounds about right. I do think this is a game that's going to be close at halftime. But I think, Cincinnati, as long as the offense finds a rhythm, should be able to beat the SMU defense more than SMU's offense beats the Cincinnati defense.
Yeah, I mean,
and they don't seem like that. Look, Mordecai can run, but he's not a running quarterback.
It's not his game. I mean, if it's there, he's going to take it. But they're not calling quarterback runs for him. I mean, you see,
he's not running it 14, 15 times on designed runs.
No, their defense is still top 4 in the country in yards per play allowed.
Right.
So it's still going to be a challenge for them to move the ball, especially if they're going to be heavy pass.
I just mean from the perspective of running quarterbacks.
Yeah.
What has hurt this Cincinnati?
Yeah, that's not his game. They're not going to run him versus having him throw.
Right. What's the Simone plan? It's looking now. You might be laid up.
Oh no, noon game. I'm watching that by myself at home.
Well, I knew that, but it like laid up, like in bed, watching it at home.
No, I feel okay. It was funny.
You're just being over dramatic.
No, I feel like shit, but by Saturday I would hope that I would be feeling better. It was funny. Most everyone knows my my superstition, my ritual of not watching the Bearcats in a bar, Holy Grail watch parties. I do not do that.
Right.
We watched the entire Tennessee game at a bar on Saturday, so I don't know if it's just a Tennessee thing, if the curse is broken.
Well, now you have to watch every Tennessee game in a bar.
I'm not willing to risk it. So
Reagan
right.
says go Vols.
That's right, Reagan.
Hi, Reagan.
Best team in the country.
Make sure you go check out the 2-minute warning live on YouTube and all of our social media channels, hosted by the delightful Reagan Yoakum.
All right, so what else do you want me to talk about?
Brent Yormark.
Yeah.
Have you seen this today?
He made some comments.
Said that expecting a deal to be done in a couple weeks. That's kind of a tell. Right?
He said what? Could.
Breaking news that happened while Tobes was on. Dennis Dodd had an article saying that this deal might be done before the Pac-12 even has their deal done.
Well, yeah, that's
if it's done in the next 2 weeks, for sure.
So
just Dodd's actually reporting on it. So
I mean, it's if you're not going to make these comments or put out these breadcrumbs and give like a legitimate timing for this stuff, and then turn around in 2 weeks and be like, you know what? we had some second thoughts. We're now going to wait 16 months and go to market. Like, to me, it feels like you went on this media blitz in New York City. You've been at Big 12 basketball media days. It just seems like a lot of things are lining up that would be super weird if then all of a sudden in 2 weeks or 3 weeks nothing happens, and then he goes, we've decided we're going to wait for the deal to open up in 16 months. So
this is telling from one specific aspect, though, right? It means that they've reached a deal with their current partners, because what happens is the exclusive window means you get to renegotiate with the people you already have deals with. If you don't reach an agreement with those companies, then you go to the open market, which is what happened with the Pac-12. This to me says the Big 12 will carry forward with Fox and ESPN.
I think there's been interest in continuing these relationships, and as long as the numbers were what the Big 12 wanted, I know there's some out there that say, well, why don't you go just wait, because you can then have a bidding war. But that, I don't know if I agree with that. Like, this isn't the SEC or the Big 10. Like,
right.
I'm not sure if you waited 16 months that like NBC or CBS is going to come in and just blow your doors off, comparatively speaking, to what ESPN and Fox is offering you. And I think it tightens the screws on the Pac-12 then, because you're then, you have the ACC and the SEC that are the exclusive rights holders for ESPN, and you have the Big 10 with Fox. And so you're taking up, I guess, that next level of time slot. So what is left then outside of just the late night stuff? What is truly left then for the Pac-12? And,
how much inventory is there?
Right. That's what I mean. He talks a lot about, not going down, we're going up. I still want to see the numbers. You can say that a lot.
Yeah, but I don't think, like, that seems like a pretty sharp guy. Like, I don't think he's going to say something like that if he's got an indication it's going to drop $8 million per school.
If you're not seeing the numbers you want, you're not coming out and saying, like, we might have a deal in the next couple of weeks. What do you think you're going to do? Hardball them and say that, and then they're going to go, oh, here's some more money? No, they're going to say, well, here's the deal right now. If you don't like it, you can wait for 16 months, and this deal today might not be the deal that's on the table in 16 months.
Right. And sometimes, Dave, with deals, there's verbal agreements, and then those verbal agreements go to the lawyers before they come actual agreements.
Yeah, I just don't want. I know there'll be some, and we're used to it because of ESPN Plus. I just want the least amount on streaming as possible.
That's going to be tough in this league, man.
Well, it's going to be a lot easier if you do the deal with
Fox and ESPN.
Fox and ESPN. Right. Like, I mean, for the Pac-12, it makes sense because, like, anything's better than the Pac-12 network. So I get why they're maybe pushing.
Nobody watched.
Well, no one has it. I saw a very funny tweet the other day where a guy got the Pac-12 network on his smart fridge, but not on his TV.
So he had to stand at his fridge to watch the game. That's outstanding.
So I just, like, the games have been bad, but I have not flipped on either of the last two. I haven't even thought about putting on either of the last two Thursday night games on Amazon.
Because you're watching NFL.
Well, no, I'm watching, like, they've been so bad, but I'm just not interested. Like,
yeah.
So if it's not UC, yes, we like the Big 12 and it's going to be better, but, like, on a Thursday night, are you really going to make an appointment to go to Amazon to watch Kansas, West Virginia football?
Right.
Now, if it's on FS1 or ESPN2, yeah, I'll flip it on. I don't have to do anything.
Right. It's just put it on.
We'll see. I mean,
or leave it on, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. Next couple of weeks. It'll be interesting.
Malik Elzy decommitment. Not a huge surprise if you paid attention to his social media. Generally, when their social media starts going 100% in a different direction, and they are no longer retweeting or liking or having any affiliation with the school they're committed to, and another school is getting all of that love, it's usually a pretty good sign something's up. I'm not the biggest, like, social media is the be all end all of reading the tea leaves, but when it swings all the way in the other direction, not a great feeling about where things are headed.
No, it's unfortunate, but
from what I heard, it felt like this had been trending that way for a while. I believe there were some people in his camp a couple weeks ago that tried to step in and be like, look, man, Cincinnati's the better situation. But there were other people in his camp that obviously staying in state, you know. And look, if Illinois stinks this year, like, this probably doesn't become a thing. No. But Illinois is winning, and they're probably going to keep winning because their schedule is trash.
Pretty bad. So,
but I mean, they lost to Indiana,
right?
Whatever. But you know, more power to the kid. It stinks because I think he had a chance to have been really, really good.
Yeah, I don't. It's recruiting. I've said for how many years, just tell me who signs in December or February, whatever. Like,
let you know when they get to campus. Like,
I mean, it's exciting when good players commit, but I don't worry about if they decommit or whatever. I mean,
well, it's big time football, Dave. Like,
yeah, it's gonna happen.
Kids decommit. Like, it happens at Alabama, it happens at Georgia, it happens at Ohio State, it happens at Notre Dame. You know, they're kids. Guess what 17-year-old kids do a lot, Dave?
Change their mind.
How many girlfriends did you have when you were 17?
None. Well, maybe one.
Some of us bounced around a lot. Some of us changed our mind a lot because you're 17. That's what you do.
Tonk 56 people for the SMU tailgate. Will Pauling, Damo Perry, Drew Donnelly, David Jones Jr. family coming to the tailgate. That's awesome. So if you are going to the SMU game,
reach out to Tonk.
Find that tailgate and cheer the Bearcats on.
Donnelly family's awesome from what I know. I haven't met with them personally, but I've heard great things about Drew Donnelly's mom and dad. So I'm sure that will be an awesome experience in Dallas. I guess I don't have a ton else. Like, you know, we spent our time talking basketball with Tobes. You came on and gave us the not even Cliff Notes. I think it was, you know, it's longer than a Cliff Notes version of the SMU scouting report, but
I did some work today on it.
It was direct and to the point. There wasn't a lot of meandering.
No, that was intentional.
Do we go after another wide receiver? Probably. I mean, I think they feel like they like where they're at with wide receiver. They like the two wide receivers they got. Do I think it's an absolute necessity that they get another wide receiver? No. Do I think if they find something they like, they could do that? Yeah, sure.
If you go after the best players, and if it happens to be a receiver, then
right. You know, like with Brian Sims, they had their eye looking out for a defensive end. They found a defensive end they liked. It happened pretty fast. So, we'll see. And with that, I guess we're gonna get you out of here. Even though the numbers are just now starting to go up, people are just starting to settle in for the final hour of the show. And I regret to inform you that Dave is listed as limited on the practice report.
I'm always questionable.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we're like, you know, are you full go?
No, yeah.
Are you limited? Are you did not practice? You're here, so you practiced.
Very limited. Red jersey.
Yeah, red jersey, not full go. Need to get him back in the training room.
Need to get some IVs from Aaron and Bob.
And a lot of what this is too is like, you know, Dave's focus now is on the Sunday show because that's his show. Him and Jeff. So like he's got to He's got to get ready and get 100% for the Sunday show.
That's not fair. I still give this.
I'm just kidding.
The attention it deserves.
I did you a solid. I brought in Tobes for the first half.
Yeah.
You were like, I don't know if I can make the full thing. I'm like, all right, we'll
take off the first half. If you wanted to give me a real solid, you could have given me the first half and then brought in Tobes.
It's a guest. I had already asked him to come on at 8. Nothing better than waking up and seeing Dave's beautiful bald head.
It is beautiful.
All right, that's I guess that's going to wrap it up for today.
Right.
Aaron and I will jump on a nightcap here in a moment, and then tomorrow night I haven't heard if they have a guest or not. But Rocket Truth will be here tomorrow night on this channel at 9:00. Did you see we tried to call AP on Monday, Dave?
I did hear that.
And
he big timed you.
He big timed us. Well, I mean, if you see Royer pop up on your phone at 9:00 at night, are you going to answer?
Probably.
Oh. One more thing I did want to get to.
He might have a great story or something.
He might. Did you see New Heights today?
About Travis's contract?
There was some really good stuff on there. Some really good stuff about them as brothers growing up when I guess they broke their dad's rib or something. And Travis was like, we broke dad. Jason, we broke dad. No, but they had a Bearcats in the NFL segment.
Oh, that's nice.
And they're gonna, I guess, going forward, they're gonna pick their favorite moment from a different Bearcat in the NFL that week. And Jason picked Alec Pierce, and Travis picked Sauce, and that thing is getting massive views. If you haven't watched it,
I hope they're searching for these plays using the hashtag Bearcats in the NFL.
Maybe they are. Maybe they are.
Awesome.
What I can tell you is they're not listening to this podcast for us to find out.
I'm sure.
But it has been one of the best podcasts, like one of the best sports podcasts out there right now. It's funny. And those two, like watching them interact. There was also, towards the end, Dave, there was a story about after the Belk Bowl.
Oh, yeah, when they couldn't find his helmet.
So did you watch the story?
Yeah, I saw that last week or whenever that was.
No, it was on this week, I think, wasn't it?
No, I think it was last week because Jason had it in the bar and it got passed around and everything.
Yeah, Travis walks into the bar. Like Jason said, he had it in the bar. He gave it to somebody. They put it on. And then in 30 seconds, he just never saw the helmet again. Travis walked into the bar. People have the helmet on. It's got, remember those Belk Bowl helmets had the numbers.
They were like the diamond plated ones.
Yeah. The red, like those were maybe my favorite UC helmets ever.
They're like diamond plated with silver.
Yeah. And it had the 18 on it. And Travis is like, this is my helmet. And Jason's like, sorry, bro. Like, yeah, you gave it to the wrong guy. I know you trust me and you thought I would guard it with my life, but that's kind of not me. The stamp of the week. Yeah. But really cool to see those two guys using that platform to, again, further promote UC because they are, at the moment, the two greatest Bearcat football players ever. I'll die on that hill.
Oh, yeah.
So, really cool. Go check out New Heights. It's fantastic. That's going to wrap it up. Maybe the quickest show we've done in years. I know these used to be an hour, but get a little carried away.
I appreciate it.
Look, I'm here for you, Dave.
That's right.
I'm nothing if not a team player. I couldn't give you the night off.
No, of course not. I wouldn't ask for it.
But I can give you just an abbreviated version. All right. We will see you guys tomorrow night for Rocket Truth, Bearcat Brunch on Sunday, and all the other stuff that we got going on. You know how that goes. Check out the nightcap as well. This is the BCJ Podcast. We'll see you at the Holy Grail Saturday at noon. See you next time right here on BearcatJournal.com.